Activated Mornings on WEFM 99.9 is on now. WhatsApp us or call us at 457-9997.
We are back. It is 7:45, and at this time we usually get our commentary from Mr. Kingsley De Freitas, who would give us a call to do so. Kingsley, if you're listening, if you are going to call, now is your time. Okay, so there's no call from Kingsley, and we're assuming he's not going to give us that call today. But guess,
and just to know that he did give a reason yesterday of why.
Yes.
Right. So it's not to say that he abandoned us or anything, but he has to do something else that coincides with this same time. All right. So we may not hear from him for the week. Okay. So yeah, just a note to the listeners who didn't hear yesterday. Before we get into it, I just want to say good morning to my former neighbor in Camden Park, Sherry, and to my cousin Cardell, and somebody from yesterday. I've been trying to bust my brain. Somebody from yesterday. I can't remember who it is, but hopefully you know who you are. So good morning to you as well. Right. Yeah.
And we move right along. Kingsley couldn't give us his call this morning, but guess who can? You. You can call us 457-9997 and you can be a part of our program this morning. By the way, have you ever given us a call? You're listening all this time. You ever give me a call? If your answer is no, why not? Anyways, let me stop playing around. Now, moving forward, was there anything from before, or we're just going to go on to the next thing? No.
I think I said my part. I know there are persons trying to call. Crumpel, I will ban you from the WhatsApp. Crumpel, it's too early in the morning. But good morning to you as well, Crumpel. All right. Now, I think I said, but there were persons who were trying to call. So if they wish to continue that conversation, yes, you can do so.
Before we move on. All right. So into something brand new, as we say. Now, there was an article that was published recently that created a bit of a stir among persons. Well, things usually create stirs here. And this was about a politician who is running for the Mariaqua constituency, Mr. Jackson. He said that most children in SVG are not reading at their required reading level. I want to know how you feel about that. What has been your experience with reading? What has been your experience with your children, your grandchildren, your godchildren, your nieces, nephews, and the children that you come into contact with recently in the past couple of years, as far back as you can remember? What has it been like with their reading? Have you been helping your children with reading as parents and guardians? I know one of the first things we say is, wait, teach them I do. But a lot of times we want to know what the parents are doing as well, right? So Jackson said that only, according to the article, only 7 of every 100 primary school students in SVG are reading and writing at the required level. And he said he's not making this up. They are statistics that they have been calling for and so on. He said under the NDP government, though, this was interesting to me. He said under the NDP government, they will ensure that no child would get to grade 6 without being able to read and write properly before going to secondary school. He said that they are going to make sure that they hold everyone responsible for the children accountable. So whoever parent, guardian, community, teachers, whoever is involved with the child, the NDP government is going to hold you accountable. And he said we will remind them that it is the NDP policy that our students should be able to read and write by the time they get to grade 5, so they can take full advantage of secondary school education. Roleza, how you feel about this one?
Okay, so I think let's start by explaining to us, because you were in the school system recently. What is used to determine children reading at their particular level? Because the thing of it is that I might be picking at words, but I can still read. I may not read with fluency. I don't know if I read using that correctly in that sense, but I might not be reading with fluency, but the point is that I am still able to read. So how is it determined children reading at their level?
Well, all of that would be determined by the reading test. It's an IRI, an informal reading inventory that you would do, which involves presenting the students with several things. So they would have from the alphabet right up to let's say a grade 6 reading passage. We have a call. Okay, so I'm gonna stick a pin, take the call, and come back. Hi, good morning.
Good morning, ladies and ladies.
Morning.
Morning, Stephen.
Yes. That reading part thing is a politics thing, man. Them thing going on for ever since, and nobody could make it extra better. Well, at least you're reaching further now with universal education and all kind of thing, but nobody can make you read faster than the way you're supposed to do. Everybody brain different, eh? That's what politics. And then when sometimes most politicians, when they get into office, they're not no time with nobody. They're trying to see what they could get for them and their family. So, me ain't go buy that kind of thought. Children them going good and they're doing well. We have brighter children than long ago. With technology and all kind of thing, we have brighter children and everything. But you can't force people to do what they can do. Because with me, he would never beat me with a phone in my head. There's something me can't learn at all. Well, you know, let me tell you something. You talk about last year. The first topic I was on. One of the worst thing to do is to last salvation. Because if a man believes in a good book, the Bible, you tell it good and bad, and you have one choice. Either to end up in hell or heaven. And then tell me what profit a man to lose his soul and give me all. It's one of the most stupidest last you could find in the whole world. If you live your life so good and happy and had to end up on the wrong side, a man who created, a man who make you to serve you and to worship you, and you didn't do that in the right way you're supposed to do on the Lord. That is last upon last. Because to burn in hell in a hot lava fire not easy. And there are some people who ain't care, I know remorse at all, and they don't care. If they end up there, but they really don't understand. That is the real life. You say who pay man who could destroy your body and your soul.
So Stephen, I am assuming that you are saved, sanctified, and everything else.
Well, I don't come at fornication and all them kind of things and lust.
Fornication is the only thing. But come on, Stephen, fornication can't be the only thing. Eh? Fornication can't be the only thing.
Fornication, stealing, bad mind, hatred, and all kind of things. I just try to wait for that, put that, ask them to cast them things away from me, because to last your soul.
You know you could sin in your mind too, right, Stephen?
Huh?
You know you could sin in your mind too, thinking evil thoughts, etc.
All that I would prefer.
Okay.
The Bible tells you always to pray. I cease not to pray. Because all that, you know, you don't get up and say praise alone, you know. But every second, every thought you make and everything, you always have God in your mind to ask for forgiveness, because you know, well, you don't want to end up in lava.
All right.
So you have to try to do everything that good. Love people.
All right. Okay.
Hello?
Okay. I get you. So your important thing in terms of loss is the loss of salvation, the loss of your soul, right?
Yes,
we get you. All right.
Eternity.
Okay.
Eternity in goodness or in badness. And I think pain. You're not going to hospital and come out a minute. When you laugh, when the soul laughs, the tormentful life, and you all the memory and all the education coming back to you and everything that you do.
Okay, so, all right, Stepper, we get you. All right, thanks for calling today.
Stephen, I think your Christian brethren would be proud of you for that bit of evangelism you just did there.
But it's funny, as he said it yesterday, I went into a business establishment. I was buying something. And I'm not sure what the conversation was between the attendant and the person who was there, because I wasn't paying too much attention, but it sounds like the person was preparing for something. And the attendant is like, are you preparing for the coming of Christ? He said, were you prepared for this thing? And I just did chuckle because I am not sure if the person actually wanted to hear that message at that time, or if it was, some way of reaching out, or, that type of conversation that Christians tend to have. But I just stood to the side and started to chuckle. The person actually said yes that they are, but I don't know if they just said yes to be able to move the conversation along. But it was kind of funny how easily, many times Christians slip things into conversations with us. But yeah. All right.
Okay, so all right, we're going back to we're talking about the reading before. So the children will be presented with various things, their alphabet, words. They would also have to they would have to identify the alphabet. They're placed randomly on the paper, obviously not in order. So they would touch the letter, say what letter it is. They would also say the letter names, the song that the letter makes, rather. They would be given some word lists as well, and then reading passages. The word list should help you to determine what reading passage you would start at, whether it's a pre-primary grade 1, 2, or whatever. But you can still start at whichever one you prefer to start at. If you want to start at the lowest one and then just work your way up. But if according to the number of miscues, that's how they that's how they mark the mistakes, as we would say, that the children would make when they're reading. So the miscues, they would mark the amount of miscues, and according to the number of miscues that you find there, it would determine what level the child is reading at. So if they're not, if you add it up and then it's not, what was it the thing again? I can't remember the final thing that you would, I can't remember the words right now, but based on the number of things you add up, you would decide which level the child is reading at.
Okay.
So even those little, so there is a mark for fluency as well. You're counting the fluency, how, as you say, you're picking at words, you would mark all of those as well in the reading.
I suppose, and that's the reason why I asked the question too, because people have different reading level skills. Even as adults, there are different level reading skills, but is it to say that they cannot read, or they're not necessarily reading at their level, right? It was, I suppose to me, when I read it, I suppose when I read it, I found it interesting that the stats was so high, right? Because to me, what he is quoting there sounds very high. But again, it's reading at their level. So I suppose I don't think that we could actually state that I'm not in the school system, so I can't say whether or not this is significantly a problem. What it is that I do have a concern with, and I've heard it expressed before, is that there are students who are moving from one level to another level, getting an automatic promotion without covering the basics. Now, that works both to an advantage and a disadvantage for some students, because we have to recognize that there are many students who are late bloomers. Many of them don't prioritize learning and education, let's say at the lower level, but we have seen instances where some students have failed common entrance maybe 2-3 times, right? But as a result, they still turn out with a doctorate. But the thing of it is that you have to really and truly be able to conquer the basic reading and it's not just reading for me, it's also comprehension, because comprehension is
they have to answer questions based on the passage as well, so you could get their comprehension level as well,
right? So they need to be able to conquer those things. And I suppose when this is identified in students, what's within the school setting, and I'm not just putting everything on teachers, because it can't everything just be based on teachers, which is why I find it a little bit challenging that politics is brought into this particular topic, because this is more than just about maybe, let's say, the Ministry of Education failing or the ULP government as a whole failing with regards to education. This has to be an issue that encompasses many people, teachers, parents, those persons who are going to be involved in remedial learning, because, right, so I strayed a little bit. Let's get back on track. What is done for these students when they are identified as being weak readers, right? What is done within the school system to help them? And what are parents also doing to help with this as well?
They have a lot of remedial work that they do. Once you identify the child isn't reading at their level, then you would, at the required level, do you work with them at the level they're at and try to get them to the next level. You have a bunch of strategies that you would use, things you could look for on YouTube and Google and ask other teachers on all of these things. The thing is, when you have a child in your class, there's a limited time you have to work with that child, and there's a whole class of children that you have to work with, a whole timetable that you have to complete, a whole curriculum that you have to complete. So as we keep saying here, parents need to play their role as well. Parents need to work with the children. Okay. So there was a question you had asked. I was going to respond to something there, but we're going to head out of here, and then we could probably take this up later this morning. So it's time to head out of this talk segment. If you have anything you want to contribute, don't worry. We have until 10 o'clock. We're here until 10 o'clock. Right now, we are going out. It is 8:01, and our time check was brought to you by the New Haven Funeral Home.
Death is a fact of life.